Hey everybody, it's X, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today I'll be playing another Ravnica Mixer Draft, one pack of Guilds, Ravnica Allegiance, and War of the Spark in this format. We're going to be starting off with a pretty interesting pack one. Nothing incredibly powerful, but Vivid Revival could be quite good if you try to go for one of those if you try to go for one of those 5-color control decks. You are going to have a lot of powerful multicolored cards in your deck, and if you do when you cast this late game, it is a draw 3, although it is a very slow card. You can't cast this until you have 5 mana and 3 multicolored cards in your grave to get max value, so really slow card, but good value on it. Other than that, there's like Affectionate Indrik here for just any green deck. This will be a solid card. Again, a lot of mana, 6 mana for a 4/4, but you do get to get a 2-for-1 with it, killing one of their smaller creatures when you play it. Also big game-ending flyer here. Vivid Revival, even for like 5-color control, might be a little too slow for my tastes, so I guess I'll try out the Affectionate Indrik here. And I know I've just got a solid green card to start off with. We can move into Selesnya or Golgari in this pack, and we do see a solid Golgari card pass to us. Status and Statue, primarily Statue being the good limited card, 4 mana for an instant to destroy an artifact, creature, or enchantment. I think that'll be the pick for me. Selesnya and Golgari, green, white, and green, black are the two color pairs you can go with green in pack 1. There's no green, red, or green, blue in pack 1 if we're trying to get good multicolored cards. But technically, since there's one pack from each Ravnica set in this draft format, we could also just take another big solid card like Inescapable Blaze and still end up playing Affectionate Indrik and Escapable Blaze in the same deck. We could get plenty of green-red cards in pack 2. So Inescapable Blaze, another super solid card here, but I do think Statue might be a little bit better. It's more efficient. We're already green, so we can hop into green-black here. But I do quite like Inescapable Blaze. I don't think you could go too wrong with that either. And another thing you can definitely do in this format, if there's nothing super solid in your pack, you can always just take a Guild Gate or a Rare Land or something like that, because just having a lot of mana fixing is always going to be powerful here. That'll leave you more open to potentially moving into those heavily multicolored control decks, or just having the ability to splash whatever kind of powerful bombs you end up getting later on. There are, of course, a lot of multicolored cards in these formats, so another pick here. I think I'm just going to draft the easy way here. Deadly Visit is just a fantastic removal spell. 5 mana to destroy a creature and Surveil 2. It's one of the best cards in this pack. We also have Inescapable Blaze again, which I do think is quite solid. An uncounterable way to destroy something at instant speed, as long as it has 6 or less toughness, or often just finish the game dealing 6 to your opponent. So again, Inescapable Blaze, super sweet here. Generous Stray, solid. Severed Strands, solid. But Deadly Visit, the best card for Golgari here, just green or black. Well, things are panning out quite well for us because we see several super solid options for Golgari again. 3 that seem pretty sweet to me. We have Siege Worm here, 7 mana for a 5/5 trample, but you can convoke it, so every creature you have on the board can tap to make it 1 cheaper. They just help cast the spell. So Siege Worm, a super great finisher. We have Glowspore Shaman, which is really good at triggering Undergrowth cards. It's a 2 mana 3/1 that mills yourself 3 cards when it enters the battlefield. Sure, it only has 1 toughness, so it's going to trade off with anything on the board. Just a small little squirrel token or something like that, and the Glowspore Shaman will die, but the Golgari mechanic in the set is a mechanic that cares about having a lot of creatures in your graveyard, so the fact that this mills you and then dies early means it is still solid. So I think Glowspore Shaman's pretty good here, but I do really like the Siege Worm, and we're only going to have 1 pack here with actual quote-unquote Golgari cards with the Golgari mechanic, so I'm not so sure how much we're going to actually value self-milling like Glowspore Shaman does for us. So this pack I think is going to be a pretty easy deadweight, just an excellent early game removal spell. There are also a couple cards for the 5-color Gate deck. There's Glaive of the Guild Pact, although I don't think this is that good in the Gate deck because it requires you to have a bunch of well, some amount of creatures out to keep slapping this onto, and it doesn't have any immediate impact from casting it. You have to cast it and cast something else and then equip this onto that other thing. So not super what the Gate deck is trying to do. They're trying to have just singly powerful, like by themselves, highly impactful cards like the Gatekeeper Gargoyle here. This one I do think would be a pretty good pick if we were going 5-color stuff. So just going to mention that there because I do want to do that at least once in this draft format before it cycles away. And I have played against a 5-color deck, and I think each time I've drafted this format so far. Alright, so Pilfering Imp is quite solid, 1 mana for a 1/1 flyer. It helps trigger your Undergrowth by sacrificing itself to make your opponent discard a card. It is like a little Thoughtseize on a stick, make them discard whatever non-land card you want for that 2 mana sacrifice ability, so Pilfering Imp pretty solid here. Although, Selesnya Guildgate to be open to going green, white, and black would be quite nice. In the next pack, we're obviously not going to get any green-black cards, there's only Golgari in Guilds of Ravnica, but we could get white-black cards by being in white, green, and black. We could get Orzhov cards in the second pack. For the same reason, Flower Flourish could be pretty good too, because Flower is 1 mana to grab a forest or plains from your library and put it into your hand. This pack's a little less exciting, although I do think Rampaging Monument's quite good in this format. It's not going to be at its best in our deck, because we're not that multicolor here. We're just straight Golgari again so far. But 4 mana 3/3 trample, not the worst deal ever, and if you can cast more than 1 multicolored spell, that's where you start getting a really good deal on this. 4 mana for a 3/3 or 4/4 trample, solid, but once you start getting a 5/5 or 6/6 trample for only 4, that's where you really go off, so Rampaging Monument going to be the pick for me there. Surprised it's still in there, I guess. Not a lot of people trying to do anything super multicolored here, it looks like, so far. Alright, I don't really like anything in this pack. Definitely don't like the green or black cards. Never Happens, just an expensive discard spell. Pause for Reflection is just a fog. Crushing Canopy is a sideboard card. Best off-color cards are like Sonic Assault, but that's just for like aggressive Izzet decks, which we are very far from playing here. Capture Sphere is a solid blue removal spell. Yeah, we could just take Capture Sphere here. Get some Simic cards in the next pack, potentially. Be it green, black, and blue here. Alright, well, I'm definitely taking Selesnya Guildgate here. I don't think anything in this pack is all that powerful. Barrier of Bones was actually fine back in triple Guilds of Ravnica, because it was another creature that gets out there, helps trigger Undergrowth, because it dies pretty easily and it surveils when it comes into play, but I don't expect it to be all that high of a performer in this mixer format here. So Veiled Shade's kind of nice. 3 mana for a 2/2 is a low power toughness for the cost, but the activated ability is pretty good when you flood out. All of a sudden this can attack into or block much bigger creatures, as long as you're holding the mana up. Woodshaper's a pretty good deal too, though. 4 mana for a 2/1 that draws a creature or enchantment from your top 4. So obviously if you hit a creature, it's a great deal. Sometimes you won't, though. I'll go with the Woodshaper here. If we do end up picking up Orzhov cards in the next pack, going the green, white, black route. Alright, I really don't like Erstwhile Trooper. This was kind of just a miss, even in triple Ravnica, even in triple Guilds of Ravnica, sorry. This was just not good in the Golgari decks. It's just such a hefty fee to discard a creature card just for that +2/+2. So the vast majority of the time, just a 3 mana 2/2 there. Another Sumala Woodshaper there, pretty easy pick. Ceratok here, because we're farther into green than white. And they are both some filler creatures. And some off-color stuff here. Okay, so now we are in pack 2. Pack 2, pick 1 here. This is where things get really fun, in my opinion, in the Ravnica Mixer formats, because this is where, when you're choosing your third color, the world is really your oyster. Like, we could be green, black, blue here, moving into Simic. We could be green, black, red, moving into Rakdos and Gruul. We could be green, black, white, moving into Orzhov. All kinds of stuff we could do here. So, we do have a strong rare, Bedevil. which is a good removal spell. It's also only a little bit of red mana required, so it's not the hardest splash ever for our green-black deck. Just a good removal spell, so it's not the most exciting card, but I do think it's a quite good card. There's Skatewing Spy for if we go into blue, go into Simic here. 4 mana for a 2/3 is a pretty bad rate, but if you have creatures with +1/+1 counters, giving them all flying is pretty powerful. There is the Simic Guildgate for fixing. I think I'm just going to take Bedevil here, potentially move into Jund, green, red, and black. All right, now we do have a Gate Colossus. That feels so bad because I do want to do that 5-color gate deck at some time. Gate Colossus, one of the best reasons to be in that deck. This all of a sudden becomes a very cheap 8/8 that is unblockable by small creatures. They can't block with creatures with power 2 or less, and when they play a gate, you bring it back from your graveyard to the top of your library to recast it. Gate Colossus is an absolute house, just a massive beating for the gate stacks. I do think it's probably too late for us to try to go 5-color. That being said, the only thing we're missing out on here would be a Rakdos Guildgate. That is kind of a big miss for the Bedevil deck, but I can't. I just get too excited when I see a card like Gate Colossus. So I'm just going to slam in the Gate Colossus. Even if we are just like 3 colors, if we pick up enough gates, it's still playable here. Just a gigantic game-ending card. All right, so what do we have in this pack? Rentor's fine for just a filler green creature here. Sharkter Crab's great if we go the blue route, green, blue, black. 4 mana for 4/4, and when you adapt it, it's a 5/5 and taps down an opposing creature. Hollowed Fountain would be okay if we do try to go the 5-color route, although we would honestly prefer gates with cards like Gate Colossus, caring about specifically gates, not just multicolored lands. I think I'm going to take Sharkter Crab here for green, blue, black. Kind of still just taking the most powerful card in each pack. The only thing that we're sure about is we're playing pretty much every green and black card that we've drafted. Alright, so Carnival Carnage is like good when you're aggressive, like you're beating your opponent down, then you just dome them for 3 more damage and make them discard 2. Don't think we're that aggressive. We don't have a lot of great creatures, especially not a lot of good aggressive creatures. As you can see, we just have one mana creature, and then it all goes to 4 mana. So we are not doing well on an aggressive curve. I don't think we're the kind of deck that'll make good use of Carnival Carnage. We could throw an Applied Biomancy in here if we go that green, blue, black route. Go the more defensive Orzhov route with Final Payment. I think I like Applied Biomancy here, trying to move into Simic, and we do see another Sharkter Crab, so happy to go that way. Sharkter Crab's incredible, although there's good red cards in here too, Skewer the Critics and Rakdos Guildgate being good. Amplifier is not. Amplifier is just too random, and Spike Wheel Acrobat's just very low toughness for the cost, so if we were going Jund here still, we'd have a good pickup to Skewer the Critics, and these Guildgates are going pretty late, but I don't feel like I'm in the wrong direction here, seeing another Sharkter Crab here, pick 5. That seems good to me. Alright, a Gruul Guildgate. Now I have to consider it a little bit, because we've got Skewer the Critics and Gruul Guildgate. Now's the time where it's like, maybe we're supposed to be green, black, red, not green, black, blue. But at the same time, we also have Gateway Sneak, which is fantastic. 3 mana for a 1/3. Whenever it deals combat damage to an opponent, you draw a card, and whenever you play a gate, it's unblockable that turn, so you can really draw a lot of cards off of this if you have a lot of gates in your deck. Of course, we didn't have the dream start of taking a bunch of gates and then getting a Gate Colossus and getting past Gateway Sneak, but it's still a good card even with not a lot of gates. And now we're going to take gates massively highly. Like, I'm going to take this gate over some other decent cards. Titanic Brawl is fine. Dead Revels is fine. But now we have multiple reasons to really want gates, to the point where I'm even going to take off-color gates. Because if we're taking something on color for us, a green, blue, or black card, it's a very filler card, like a 3/7 or a 1/3 that doesn't do anything for us. But the gate, it's just a forest that comes into play tapped, but triggers our Gate Colossus and triggers our Gateway Sneak. So now, And I guess, I mean, we've got the guild gates now. We're starting to look 5-color. So maybe at the end of the draft, we can look through our deck building, look through our mana base, and see if it's even possible to kind of play a 5-color thing here. Just taking filler green creatures there because we just have so few early game creatures. Anything 1 to 3 mana, and primarily green or black would be fine for us. And yeah, with like no 2-mana creatures, I'm just going to take a 2-mana 1/3. I just want something to get on the board and block in the early game. Frenzied Erring's still here quite late. Wow. That is by far the best card here. I should probably still take the filler Brush Strider because it's going to be real hard to cast this Erring's, but I feel like it's just a way better card, and Rebel Belt Recluse is way better than the Lizrog. Alright, another Trumpeter. Well, we're going to be pretty hopeful that this last pack makes our pile of cards here make some amount of sense. We have a lot of powerful cards, but our mana base is all over the place, and we don't have a consistent curve. So we're going to have to put in some work in this last pack to get this pile functioning properly. But we'll see what we can do here. Definite Mammoth Spider there. That card has been pretty good. We played it in our last Golgari deck. Ended up siding it in over some uncommon flyer that didn't end up being that great. Alright, so because our colors are already all over the place, I'm just going to slam down Sarkhan because it's an incredibly powerful card. 5 mana for 5 loyalty planeswalker, you -3 it to make a 4/4 flyer. That's the bare minimum you're getting out of this is a 4/4 flyer for 5 mana, which is always great in limited. And if Sarkhan sticks around and you're also beating your opponent down with Sarkhan himself, you're just getting an excellent deal. So Sarkhan's just an absurd card. Strongest card in the pack by far. I'm just going to take Sarkhan here and do everything in my power to maybe be able to cast that. So we're going to be taking cards like New Horizons in this pack super highly. So it looks like we have sort of pivoted at the last possible moments into probably 5-color here, trying to pick up cards like Centaur Nurturer. This can tap for a mana of any color. Cards like Interplanar Beacon can help us splash our planeswalkers like Sarkhan. Although we could take another planeswalker here like Nahiri. I'm not the biggest fan of Centaur Nurturer for mana fixing because it's kind of flimsy mana fixing. Like, our opponent just has to play 1 removal spell to mess up our mana if we're trying to get there off Centaur Nurturer. Plus, it doesn't come out till turn 4, so it's very slow mana fixing. I think I'm just going to take Nahiri here, another powerful planeswalker. This is potentially multiple removal spells in one. And really cross my fingers hoping for some mana fixing that does not
oppose me and be reduced to rubble.
Show up in creature form. So yeah, there we go. New Horizons, just immediate windmill slam. Now one of our lands, instead of tapping for a green or whatever it was going to tap for, can tap for 2 mana of any 1 color. So that one land that we put a New Horizons on now mana fixes us perfectly for like a splash like Nahiri. We can just go bam, double white or double red for Nahiri, or bam, double red for Sarkhan. So New Horizons is just such a powerful card, helping splash in like whatever you want. Really great mana fixer. That is exactly what I'm looking for out of this pack. Now, we definitely don't have mana fixing here. We do have Spark Reaper, which is a pretty good black card. Another early game creature. Looking for those. I feel like we have a lot at 4. It's going to be hard to cast, so we won't always be hitting these cards on turn 4. But I think we have so many of them that I don't want a Herald of the Dreadhorde at 4 here. We could take Prismite if we're real desperate on mana fixing, but Prismite is very slow mana fixing because you're spending 2 mana to get 1 mana of whatever color you're trying to hit, and most of what we're splashing in does cost double, like double red. So Prismite still, even here, not that exciting. Grab it, ignite the beacon, pick up a Sarkhan and Nahiri at instant speed. Nice tutor effect there. You know, we're just going to lose our minds here a little bit in the last pack. I think that's what I've decided upon this time. Dovin Hand of Control. This is just bad, right? All it does is prevent damage. It doesn't actually deal with anything permanently. It doesn't really impact anything. Yeah, that's not great. I guess I'll take a Pollen Bright Druid. We can proliferate onto our Planeswalkers, or we just have a 2-mana 2/2 blocker there. Wow, Tamiyo's still here. I do think Tamiyo's good. Just a good value spell. Choose an online card, reveal a top 4, put one with that name into your hand, the rest into the grave. Usually that'll just mill 4, but then you start using the -3 to pick stuff up from your grave if nothing's in there yet. So I'll take Tamiyo. It's also another Planeswalker, which makes our Ignite the Beacon more powerful. I don't know what I'm doing here. This is a draft that's gone on the rails. Partially because I'm really into the gate cards like Gate Colossus, Gateway Sneak, and also partially because I did draft just straight Golgari very recently, so I'm I don't know, I'm probably a bit too much of a like hipster in that sense of where I let what I've drafted really affect what I want to draft in the future. So I'll end up in draft pods where, like, if I've drafted blue-white flyers the last couple drafts, and then I open an incredible blue-white flying mythic and get past a great blue-white flying uncommon, I will just actively avoid going to blue-white still because I just don't want to play blue-white again. Like, I don't want to retread old ground. So that could have absolutely happened here. I think that this draft pod, we could have absolutely just stuck to Golgari the whole time, just had a great deck. But I got excited about 5-color stuff, and now we're going to have a time. We're going to be making some decisions when it comes to splashes and stuff in the end. It's going to be some difficult gameplay. I am going to be playing 5-color here. I'm pretty certain. Like, at this point, let's just do the funnest thing that our deck can do. Just easily 5-color. We don't have enough creatures for Storm the Citadel, I think. At least not consistently curving out with the creatures enough for it. This is, alright. Okay. This is going to be a time and a half here. An absolutely wild deck this time around. See if it pans out for us. Probably not. I'm going to let the auto-suggester even do our mana, because I don't see how I could even do the correct mana base here. It's going to take me a century to figure out what the correct mana base would be. Honestly, I think Brush Shredder is better than Arlen's Wolf in this deck, because I'd rather just get a couple of life to maybe survive than actually beat my opponent down, which is so weird, because usually Arlen's Wolf is monumentally better, because that 2 life just doesn't matter, and this can get through a bunch of chump blockers, but I think that's where I'm at with that one. Roll like this. This is our awkward pile of cards. Alright, I probably shouldn't let the auto-suggester actually choose our mana base, so as always, there will be links in the description below to skip through deck building, because at this point, deck building is pretty much done. This is what I'm going to run. I'm just going to figure out what exact numbers on lands I feel I should put in here. Okay. There we go. Now we are all sorted well and good to figure out how to build this mana base. So We have 9 green cards. One of our green cards is New Horizons, which mana fixes us. I think green is going to be the most important color by a lot. So 9 green. Followed by 7 black, 8 black, because bedevil. So 9 green, 8 black, 1, 2, 3, 4 blue, 1, 2, 3, 4 red, and 1 white. We have a Boros Guild Gate and a Selesnya Guild Gate. We have a New Horizons. I don't think we put a single white source in here for our one of Ignite the Beacon. So yeah, Interplanar Beacon doesn't help cast Ignite the Beacon, which is not super flavorful, but Boros Guild Gate, Selesnya Guild Gate, New Horizons can get us there, so we'll keep that as is. Next up, we have the 4 red cards, the 4 blue cards. Red is a little more difficult for sure, because we have 3 red cards that require double red. Nahiri requires double red, Sarkhan requires double red. However, Nahiri can also get help from the Selesnya Guild Gate, so that counts as 1 source for the 2 Nahiris there. We have Interplanar Beacon as well to help with these 2 Planeswalkers. It doesn't perfectly make the mana for them because it adds 2 mana of different colors. It can perfectly cast a Nahiri, but it can't perfectly cast a Sarkhan. It can only make 1 red for Sarkhan. So, but if we have an Interplanar Beacon out, the Interplanar Beacon does count as one of the red sources we need for that. So, right now we have 3, 4, 5 red sources. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 blue sources, 5 red, 4 blue. I think we can cut a red source here because New Horizons and Interplanar Beacon help cast these 3 cards really easily. I'm going to cut 1 red source. Okay, and then we have 9 green, 8 black. 9 green, 8 black. Green is by far most important with the New Horizons under its belt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green sources right now, 5 black sources. Make a 6th green source, 6 green sources, 5 black sources. The only black card that we have that needs double black is Deadly Visit, which isn't until turn 5. It's a late game removal spell. Everything else costs a single black. I could even cut down to 4 black sources, 7 green. But that might be a bit much because our black, the other thing we have to consider about black is we do need 1 black mana early in the game. Because most of our early game cards are in black. Deadweight, Pilfering Imp, Double Trumpeter. So now we'll cut back a little bit. 6 green, 5 black. Alright, well this is not at all how I imagined my first draft of a 5-color deck going. But here it is. Basically, I think the drafts where you should draft 5-color are the drafts where in the first pack, anytime there's not something just pretty solid in the pack, just always take a Guild Gate. If it's just like a filler card for your deck, just take a Guild Gate over it if there's a Guild Gate in the pack, because then that leaves you open to doing this kind of thing later in the draft more easily. As you can see with the way I drafted, I got 2 Guild Gates in the first pack, and they're not particularly on color, definitely not the Boros one. So ideally, any deck where you're trying to pivot into the 5-color, or any draft where you're trying to pivot into 5-color like I've done here, you would just have more Guild Gates than I did scoop up. But as it stands, this is where we're at. And we're going to have a fun time, whatever what happens here. This might be our first 0-3 in the Ravnica Mixer format, but regardless, it'll be an experience. It will certainly be an experience today. Alright, well, not a bad start at all. We can cast an Imp and a Trumpeter. We have the Interplanar Beacon to cast Nahiri. Cast everything but Gateway Sneak in this hand. Playing against a red and white, they start with a turn 2 Healer's Hawk. Double Healer's Hawk. Alright, aggressive Boros stuff here, it looks like. We can trade one Hawk for our Pilfering Imp, kill the other one with a Deadweight, and I think that's where I'm at here. Maybe not. I mean, Nahiri can kill them really easily. Minus X only needs to do 1. So, I think I will trade an Imp for 1, but I'm going to save my Deadweight here. I definitely want to get these off the board as quickly as possible. The Boros mechanic in Guilds of Ravnica puts +1/+1 counters on their creatures. So if these Hawks get any bigger, that'll be an issue. And red and white are aggressive colors. I would like to stop all the damage I can early in the game here. And by trading with the Imp on the Hawk immediately, I'm saving like 3 or 4 points of damage because it will get multiple attacks out if I don't immediately trade with it. Law Rune Enforcer is not a fun time. I might just kill Law Rune Enforcer. That thing is very annoying. Although we do have a lot of Planeswalkers in this deck, we're not exactly trying to win with our creatures. So we don't have to kill this Law Rune Enforcer until a point in which we need our creatures to block with. Because alternatively we can just like win by just playing big Planeswalker stuff. So yeah, I guess we don't need to deadweight this Law Rune Enforcer. We can still save it for something else, but I can't imagine anything's going to be better than the Enforcer to deadweight later. And all of my mana is going to be soaked up next turn into either Monument or Nahiri. So if we don't cast deadweight now, it'll be a long time until we do. So Charity Extractor from our opponents. I'm just going to cast Rampaging Monument before I cast Nahiri. That way we get the maximum value by getting a +1/+1 counter onto the Monument. And now I can just block the Extractor all the time with the Monument if I want. We can get in with the Trumpeter because it has Menace. Wanted to stop every point of damage last turn. That's why I didn't attack instead of just attacking even though I had Menace. I was like, well, I'll block Enforcer if they attack with it. Alright. Now we can very much cast Nahiri, get rid of the Healer's Hawk, and have a 4/4 Trampling Monument. And Nahiri will still be at more than enough loyalty.
Start this fight, but I will finish it.
5 loyalty Nahiri here. So we can even just attack him with the Monument. If they attack Nahiri with both, we block the 2/1 with a 1/3. Nahiri takes 1, but I kill the Lynx. Yeah, we're in a great position here. They have 1 card in their hand. Alright. They do have the Charity Extractor, being able to block our 4/4 Monument. They did not buy me having a 1 mana burn spell. But I'll threaten it anyway. I also didn't do the math. I didn't realize they had 5 toughness over there. Alright. So Tidebearer Giant's a problem, but we can double block it pretty easily, only lose 1 creature to save Nahiri. I'll just play a Brush Strider, pass the turn. Top deck war it is. Which I feel like we have a good shot during when we have our mana base all set up like we do. Because now pretty much any draw is active. Alright, so they are going to go ahead and do that. Let them kill... Actually, we can buff the Trumpeter, right? No, 4 mana, not 3. Dang it. 1 mana off from buffing Trumpeter. We lose the Monuments if we do the double block, but... worth it. Can block everything else they have all day long. I'm actually going to hold on to this Guild Gate in case I hit the blue source for Gateway Sneak so I can give it unblockable and draw an extra card 1 turn. I still don't think I want to attack the Lynx's first strike while it's attacking, so my 1/3 can block it well, but my 3/2 can't. So if they attack Nahiri with both, when I have only Brush Shredder up, Nahiri takes 3. I guess I could then just kill Lynx and then Nahiri's at 1 still. That's not awful. It's not awful, but I'm only getting a little bit of damage in. They're lifelinking right back at me anyway. I'm getting 2 points of damage in. I guess I could attack both here, because we have first strike and they don't. So they would block there and then I hit for 2. No, because then I'm just hitting for 1. They're going down 1 life. They just go to 22 because they gain 1 there and take 2 there. I feel like attacks just are not great for me. Although, I will send in the Trumpeter, because like, if they attack Nahiri, then I actually get to do something with Nahiri. Nahiri doesn't like actually do something for me unless they have tapped creatures, and they're not going to have tapped creatures unless they're trying to attack Nahiri. So we'll just do that. If they want to attack Nahiri and hit her for a couple damage, it's fine, because then I get to kill their links. She goes down to 3. I'm -1, she goes down to 2. Or if they kill the Brush Strider, then she goes down to 2, and I can still kill the links with her still around. Which is super fine. If they just attack with Extractor, then she's kind of hanging out, doing what she was anyway, which is basically nothing. Alright. So now... could again do the Trumpeter thing, but now they hit her for 3 and she goes down to 1 loyalty, which means if I try to kill the links, she would die. So we'll keep her around so that our field still has first strike, even if we use a minus later. I was already not planning on ever killing the Charity Extractor with her. She would die if I did that, and it's not that big of a deal. Alright. Going to our turn here, we get to drop this, Tamiyo down, I suppose. Get our Rampaging Monument back from the grave. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana, so 4 mana for Tamiyo. 3 mana for something from grave. So we could pick up Deadweight and just kill the links. We could also pick up Deadweight and nullify the Extractor. Tamiyo can do some fun stuff. Could just play Gateway Sneak and Tamiyo. Just be ready to block for her. Mill myself and name Sarkin, I guess. Like, the only way to guarantee we're hitting something is to minus here and pick up a Deadweight or a Monument. Those are both good cards for the future, but let's go risky here. Let's just call it Sarkin off the top.
I know I noted this somewhere.
It's Sarkin the Masterless, right? I'm gonna have to Google what our Sarkin is. Yes, Sarkin the Masterless. Alright, we hit a Shark to Crab. That is not a Sarkin. But now she has 6 loyalty, so we can bring 2 things back from the grave over time. Alright, Syndicate Guild Mage is annoying. Tap a creature with power 4 or greater, so it can tap our big stuff or it can slowly kill us with that 2 damage ability. Probably just deadweight that, honestly. Just say, no, I'm not feeling that.
The past is never forgotten.
And we can still cast Gate Colossus here. Oh, they're just going to scoop them up. I was going to play Guild Gate. That would give our Gateway Sneak unblockable. We hit for 1, draw a card. Then we have another gate on the board, which means that the Gate Colossus costs 1 less, and we slam that onto the board. So that was a huge turning point there. Tamiyo. A massive draw, and then, of course, Gateway Colossus and Gateway Sneak doing their awesome gate stuff. Gate synergies. Alright, here we are in round 2 with our 5-color pile. New Horizons, best card in the whole deck. Always going to keep a hand with that in it. Pollen Bright Druid as well, so we can actually have something on the board to make bigger with our New Horizons. And have an early game blocker, attacker, any of that stuff. Cool. Turn 3 New Horizons. We now have a Tamiyo to cast in the future. We're going to wait to cast her, because we obviously don't need to draw cards this early in the game. We still have plenty of stuff to get out on this board and get attacking with. But she's going to be a great card to have later in the game. There's a New Horizons for my opponent as well. That has got to be just one of the best cards in this particular format. Let's keep the aggro going, play our best creature here, the Shark to Crab. That has the great adaptability as well to shut down one of their blockers for a couple turns. Senate Griffin, a 3/2 flyer, and they get to scry 1 when it enters the battlefield. They're on green, white, and blue at least here. We have Siege Worm if we tap all of our creatures, but I don't want to. I want to stay aggressive. Yeah, let's just Shark to Crab slam. Hit for 8. They're down to 6 life now. And if our Pollen Bright Druid dies, we can bring it back to our hand with Tamiyo. And if we recast it, put another +1/+1 counter onto the Shark to Crab, we do get to tap another creature. It triggers whenever counters are placed on it. So that's absurd. That being said, our opponent has no blockers here at 6, so we're just going to hit for 8, and that's going to be game there. Just too slow of a start for our opponent. They cast 1 blocker on turn 4, and that's all they cast to affect combat that game, so just not a great start from our opponent. 2-0, heading into round 3. Super weird that the mana base has been working as well as it has so far, especially since in game 2, our opponent was probably having a real bummer of a time because they just look across the table. They're playing against a bunch of green-blue stuff. And here I am with just a bunch of red and black lands on the board. Boros Guildgate. It's like, what is going on over there? What is my opponent doing? They had to have some opinions on what I was doing over here. All right, I'll keep this. It's a bit risky, but we've got turn 1 Imp. We have Deadweight for interaction. We really need to hit a blue source for Sneak and Crab. But we have plays for a while. And any planeswalkers we draw we can cast, except Sarkhan. We can cast our Nahiris or our Tamiyo, thanks to the beacon. Alright, Gruul Guildgate, not bad, but it's not the blue source, so not great. Red source is more important than a white source in case we hit Sarkhan, so we'll play the Guildgate. So now we could play any planeswalker we draw, including Sarkhan. Because we have 1 red from Gruul, 1 red from Interplanar. Alright, no turn 3 play without a blue source, so we'll play another tapped land this turn. Attack for 1. We could alternatively mess around with their hand here. Just see what their best card in hand is and make them discard it. I think I'll consider doing that this turn. So I can stop everything they have here by just deadweighting the Shaman, but then I do have to be concerned about what they play next turn, because they play anything bigger than a 1/1, and I'm just like relying on top decks. I think I'm going to sacrifice the Pilfering Imp here, and the reason is if I sacrifice the Pilfering Imp, then my little 1/1 flyer trades up into potentially their 4/4 or 4/3 or whatever size creature they're going to cast next turn. If I just leave this on the board and keep chipping them for 1, sure, I'll get them to like 13 life by the time this game ends, but then I just get beat down by whatever they can cast against me. So I'm going to look at their hand here. So yeah, now our little 1/1 flyer gets to kill their 5/2 or their 5/2 or their 4/3. These are all terrifying. Oh yeah, this is going to be a bad time. They have the 4th mana in hand. They have Gravitic Punch and multiple 5/2s, so whatever 5/2 lands on the board, they can just start dealing 5 damage to us a turn with it. Oh, Lord. This game is not looking good for us. Even if we discard the Gravitic Punch, they can cast it twice. I think we get rid of the Mentor card, because that makes the other ones bigger whenever it attacks. Turd Ogre's a bad time for us as well, because it deals 2 when it comes into play. If they have another big creature, which they will. Just get rid of Hammer Dropper, I think. No longer excited about deadweighting the Clamor Shaman. I'm just going to accept that I'm not blocking here. That way my deadweight can kill a 5/2. If they play the 4/3 here, that's going to be bad for me, but I'm expecting they won't play this until they have another creature with power 4 or greater. So they'll play a 5/2 first, and that is what they do. They play the 5/2, and now we can deadweight the 5/2. We can even deadweight the 5/2 and kill the Clamor Shaman. Excellent draw. Thank you, Nahiri. It's possible we're supposed to just wait on Nahiri like we waited on deadweight. Let them keep just hitting us for 2. That way, whenever they attack us with their 4/3 or something, we can kill that instead. Because now whenever they attack with the 4/3, they're just going to hit Nahiri, get her off the board. But we are slowing them down a lot this way, which hopefully gives us the time to hit our blue. If we hit our blue, we're safe on the ground. We have 5/5s. They have drawn a flyer here, which we are certainly not safe against, so we're just going to kill that with Nahiri. Goodbye, Nahiri.
This upon yourself.
I'm actually pretty happy with that line from our opponent, because that means we do get to kill one more card with her. I was not expecting to be able to do that, because I was assuming that the card we knew about, the Turd Ogre, was going to come out and just finish her off the turn after that came into play. But a little 2/2 flyer showed up to give us a little bit of something there, so it's nice. I am, again, more on the defensive than the offensive, so I'm just going to hold back. That way we can double block the Hellion if they attack with it. Couldn't kill it without the ability to pump. There's the blue source. And now we do have the ability to pump. War Screecher. 1/3 flyer, they can buff their whole board for 6 mana and tapping that. So the flyers are scary. We can play Rampaging Monument here before we play any multicolored cards. And that is enough to defend us on the ground, and the Shark to Crab doesn't help us in the sky anyway. Not until we activate its ability, and that only helps us for a turn. I guess we can adapt at instant speed, so it could save us for 2 turns, wait till they go to combat, then tap it down. Ooh, Chain Whip Cyclops has a very threatening activated ability, 4 mana to shut off a blocker. Target creature can't block this turn. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We do have enough mana to play the Crab and the Sneak here, which is exciting. That is what we'll do. So I don't believe I want to offer the trade of my Monument for their Cyclops. If we draw another basic, we can cast a Shark to Crab and adapt with the other one. If we draw a Gate, we get to draw a card off of Gateway Sneak. So any Gate just lets us draw an additional card and get a land out, which is excellent. Alright, so we do hit a basic, so we get to Shark to Crab adapt here. We are down to 15, and they have Gravitic Punch to hit us for 8 more. I feel like I just sit here getting chipped away at by the worst creature. So if I attack it with Monument, they still 1-for-1 trade. They block with a 4/4 and a 4/3, I can only kill one of the two. Even if I buff it with the Shark to Crab. If I attack with a Shark to Crab, the same thing happens. So we're trading down marginally each time. So we can only kill two of their creatures by attacking with those two. And like, we're not going to break through this currently. So I think we play it just real slow here. Like, we just tap down the flyer so they don't attack us, we don't attack them. And then we tap down the flyer again next turn. Another Chain Whip Cyclops. That ability is going to be terrifying. They have enough to activate it just once per turn, though. Alright, so Spark Reaper is the draw. That's actually quite interesting. We could sacrifice a Trumpeter to gain a life and draw a card, and it could be worth it. I think now that the Shark to Crab has kind of served its purpose, you know, we probably send that in. And then that will kill a Turret Ogre, like they block with Turret Ogre and Veteran. And then the next time we attack with a Shark to Crab, it will get to kill one of the Cyclopses, which are the important cards we're trying to kill. I'm actually gonna draw a card before I do anything else here. In case I hit a gate for Gateway Sneak, in case I hit my little +1/+1 counter creature for a Shark to Crab. Okay. So we do have the mana to use Spark Reaper again, which I probably will do in the end step, but I am going to attack with... I could attack with the Monument as well. Then I do kill one of the Cyclopses, right? Because they go 4/3/2/3 on that. They go 4/4/4/4 on that, or 4/4/2/2 on that. Either way, yeah, I do want to start chipping these Cyclopses down. The Monument can get bigger later if we draw good cards, but I just can't guarantee that. So let's get some action here now. Ooh, do I get to kill both Chain Whip Cyclops here? That would be phenomenal. So I just don't have to worry about that ability at all. I do. Very nice. Alright, so we're going to kill Chain Whip Cyclops, and we're going to kill Chain Whip Cyclops. Might not be wanting to use Spark Reaper anymore. I might want to actually keep another 1/3 around. Because I still do want a good amount of blockers here, and the 1/3s are good at blocking the 2 toughness stuff. So in a world where I draw a gate, play it, attack with Sneak and Shark to Crab, then I just won't have great blockers without... if I whittle my board down more. Alright, so we're taking some Gravitic Punches. We've taken our first punch. That puts us down to 12. The next punch puts us down to 8. And yeah, their board's getting wider as well, and I want to be able to block everything because we're essentially at 8 with Gravitic Punch here. So I think I am leaving the Trumpeter around. So they kill Spark Reaper here, but we kill Turret Ogre. Or we just chump block, gain a life, draw a card. That's interesting. I'd rather just get their 4/3 off the board or keep my Spark Reaper around and lose my Trumpeter. I think I still want to keep the Spark Reaper around, but whittling their board down one more seems so nice to me as well, because I'll still have 3 blockers. I'll still tap down the Screecher. I attack him with Shark to Crab. I could trade 2 for 1 if they do block. I don't know. We have so many big draws. I'm going to go for the draw here. Ignite the Beacon's one of them. That is for sure. 5 mana to do that. We'll still have 4 mana to activate Shark to Crab. So I think I do this in the end step of their turn. Because, like, I could grab a Planeswalker and then immediately cast it. Like, cast a Sark and make a 4/4 flyer. But then I'm not tapping something down. So I would have to trade something into the Turret Ogre because Shark to Crab would still be a 4/4. I think it's maybe a bit riskier, but better over time here to just straight pass. Tap down the Screecher. Ignite the Beacon in their end step. They could actually activate the Screecher here if they want to buff the rest of their field. Go for a big attack, which looks to be the case. All right, so this is going to be a big one. Oh, that's actually super bad. This would be super bad for me even if I grabbed Sarkin, though. I did not consider that. Well, this is really making me wish I killed that Turret Ogre earlier for sure. Now we can grab a Nahiri, though. We can grab Nahiri Sarkin, and that's probably better than grabbing Tamiyo. Although Tamiyo would pick up a Nahiri, but I don't have enough mana to play a Sarkin, a Nahiri, and a Tamiyo in one turn. 7, 8, 9, 10. I only have 10 mana. I guess they're untapping that, so I have to have Shark to Crab trade with that if I want to trade. Which I don't think that I do. I take 8. If I block like this, I take 8 and they have Gravitic Punch. Oh, they kill Spark Reaper this way. So they have a Gravitic Punch next turn, which means I'm going to take 4 more. I take 8, so I go to 5. Interplanar Beacon will gain me 2 life because I'm going to cast 2 Planeswalkers. If I grab a Nahiri, I can kill a tapped creature, so maybe don't kill the Hellion, because I can kill it with a Nahiri. But if I don't kill that, then what am I killing? I could kill Burning Tree Vandal. That's 3 there, that's 5 there. Take the 8 still. Puts me down to 5, but I gain 2 life when I cast 2 Planeswalkers. I kill Devouring Hellion and then kill War Screecher the next turn. I get a 4/4 flyer. They can't attack into a 4/4 or the 5/5 well. I think this is the right line here. Because I'm going to get Sarkin making a 4/4 flyer, and I'm going to get Nahiri killing the Devouring Hellion. Okay, well, I mean, that's going to mess us up either way. We don't have the mana to use Spark Reaper's ability because we're going to use it all on Ignite the Beacon. Alright, that's annoying, but we do still get to keep our 5/5 around, which is definitely good. Oh, and our 1/3? Right, so they didn't have enough damage to kill both of those either. Okay, cool. So we're just not killing the Vandal here. Which isn't good for us, but it's not the end of the world. So we can kill... Oh my god, I can't actually cast both of these because I need 4, right? Oh my god, I can't actually cast Nahiri and Sarkin. I have red-white from Beacon, and then I get my second red from there. Oh, yes, I can. Can I? I can, but it's going to be confusing. Okay. I believe. Okay, so there's red-white. We want to cast a Sarkhan without spending the white. We want to spend red, red, green, black, black. Now we still have that white to cast Nahiri. Okay. Good God. Why is the timer being so rude to me right now? I'm doing what I can, game. Alright, now we're at 7 with 2 Planeswalkers on the board, one of which kills Worst Creature. The other damages their creatures when they attack with them. Both of these become 4/4 flyers from Sarkhan's +1 to start doming our opponent. If Grateful Apparition attacks, it takes 1 damage and dies because of Sarkhan's static ability. Dealing a damage for each dragon. We have Pollen Bright Druid to proliferate, tap something down, and give all our Planeswalkers a counter. Let's tap down the Turret Ogre here, I suppose, because we're just going to kill the Worst Creature.
I'll squash you like a roach.
Are you ready?
They have a 2/2 on the ground to attack with. We have a 1/3 and a 1/1 to block. Just send in all of this. If they attack with the 1/1 flyer, it dies from Sarkhan's ability. They take it all. Full, exact lethal. They scoop them up there. A ridiculous turn of events for us, being able to ignite the beacon into 2 of our Planeswalkers in the end step there. Whew. With the perfect mana that we needed to cast both Planeswalkers, I thought that I'd messed up on the mana base. I'd thought about it earlier and I was like, we have enough, right? Then I thought I was wrong there, but we did from the Selesnya Guildgate. Adding the second white. Oh my god, that was stressful. Well, we're heading into round 4 now, undefeated with this pile of stuff. Alright, opponent starts with a turn 1 Spewer. They know what they like. They know what they're into. Gonna be an aggressive game, I'm assuming. Just have everybody lose life all the time. Yep, and there's the Boros Challenger to follow it up. 2 mana for a 2/3 Mentor, so putting counters on smaller creatures when it attacks. And it can buff itself, so terrifying card. Our Imp is not going to block well for us, so we could just sacrifice it to have it trade up into whatever they're going to play next here, but I think I want to play a tapped land so I can play Spark Reaper turn 3 guaranteed. Which means I'm not going to have the mana to sacrifice Imp here. Probably should have played Selesnya Guildgate instead of Boros Guildgate, because we do have the white card in hand, so we want to play a white Guildgate, but we've got more green cards than red cards for dang sure that we might draw into. Immolation Shaman, so that does a damage to us if we use our Pilfering Imp's ability. Damages us whenever we use Planeswalker abilities too. Immolation Shaman, pretty annoying. Also, the buff ability is very threatening. +3/+3 Menace till end of turn for 5. Alright, well that is certainly a thing. I actually like Brush Strider better than Spark Reaper here, because of that little bit of life gain and the extra power to be able to trade into their Boros Challenger. If they don't have the mana to buff it, they'll probably draw into the mana to buff it, but still. Might as well try to get something that can block it. They do have the mana to buff here. Get the Mentor attack in as well. Down to 13. Well, we can cast Ignite the Beacon turn 5, because we have drawn the untapped land to play on that turn. We don't even have double red for Sarkin, so we would just grab a Nahiri Tamiyo, I suppose. Our Pilfering Imp isn't super helping us block, so it might be better just shredding their hand with it. But again, we probably want to play a 2-3 rather than sacrifice that. Yeah, let's get a Spark Reaper on the board. And then I guess just not attack with the Imp because we really need to block here. But all of their attackers here just have fantastic abilities where they can just, whatever we choose to block, however we choose to block, they can choose to spread buffs whichever direction they need them. So it's just really hard to make a profitable block against creatures like these. You go for the main phase Sentinel's Mark as well, so that gets Vigilance and Lifelink. From the Addendum, Addendum just means if you cast it in your main phase, you get a bonus effect. So a 3/5, they have 2 mana up. Challenger's annoying enough. Both of these are annoying enough. I'd love to kill either. Which is more annoying? Probably Immolation Shaman. We know they're going to have double red in the future because they have that tapped red source here. And Menace is a lot bigger than just +1/+1. They can gain all the life they want. I'm just going to try to stabilize by playing a bunch of Planeswalkers that really take over the game, not just trying to like slowly outrace them. So their life total doesn't matter too much. Yeah, they kill one of our creatures here. And we kill the Shaman. Unless they have a trick in the hand, and if they have a trick in the hand, we're in a world of pain regardless. A 2 mana black or white trick here. If they do have one. Good lord. Alright. Well, we only lose one creature there, so 1-for-1 trade of promotion for Spark Reaper will do it, but this Boros aggro deck just too aggressive here. Pretty much impossible to get a successful block against this deck with 2 creatures with buff abilities on them and 2 instant speed combat tricks, Sentinel's Mark and Battlefield Promotion available to them. So I think this is just a matchup we're not going to win. I'm very tempted to scoop them up right now, but I suppose there's technically still an incredibly minor chance. Yeah, the problem here is we don't have the mana. We really can't block that. We don't have the mana to cast our most impactful Planeswalkers here because we needed to play an untapped land here to cast the Beacon. We should have played Selesnya Guildgate over the Simic Guildgate, I suppose. But we don't have a second red for Sarkin regardless, but Nahiri is still uncastable, but we have the mana in hand to do it. It just comes into play tapped, so we can't. All we can grab is Tamiyo here, really? Do we have anything to help there? No. Yeah, this is not... This is just not it for us. I definitely made some misplays there, specifically just in the way I played my mana. That was the biggest misplays that game. We could have been in a better position, but I don't think we were winning that game ever. But ideally, we play Selesnya Guildgate first over the Boros Guildgate, just in case, and then we would have played Boros Guildgate instead of the Simic Guildgate later. That way we know with Ignite the Beacon we get to at least cast an Nahiri immediately the turn after we cast it. But in the position we were in, we couldn't even cast an Nahiri if we grabbed it, so we wouldn't even be killing one of them. If we could cast an Nahiri in that position, then we would have cast Nahiri, killed the Immolating thing, then we're only dealing with the 3/5 Vigilance. But that still kind of shreds us a bit there. With its buff ability, we're still having to chump every turn. But we would have had a shot. And I played the wrong guild gates. So we did not have a shot. Right, pretty self-explanatory hand so far. We have a turn 3 creature to play turn 3, turn 4 creature to play turn 4. And then we've got a backup removal spell. We have Ignite the Beacon to just go ham if it resolves. We are playing against Dimir, blue and black, so not so sure it'll resolve, but we'll see. That is going to be my turn 5 plan if we don't just draw another mountain here. Opponent is playing Quench. Alright, opponent, they've planted their foot in the ground. They're going to be playing a control deck. That means I am going to try my absolute hardest to absolutely annihilate them, because counter spells annoy me. They're holding 2 mana up here still for a second Quench, potentially, if they got lucky in the draft. Got multiples. It's pretty hard to get multiples in this format, because it's 1 pack of each set, but you still got to play around them when your opponent plays like this. Alright, annoying opponent. I dislike you too. Opponent's like, you're not resolving anything. I'm holding all my mana up here. Well, maybe I am resolving stuff, because no response there. Like, now I am just going to cast Ignite the Beacon as soon as I have the mana up for it, and then if they counter that, at least Sarkhan resolves. So maybe I misread my opponent after the first Quench. Maybe they just don't have anything to cast. And that's why they're holding all this blue-black mana up. I just got horrific flashbacks of the powerful Dimir decks in triple guilds. Well, they're holding their 2 mana up for a counterspell again, if they have another Quench. No, Spark Harvest here. Alright, so they only have green mana up, so we know whatever we cast resolves, so we can just play Sarkhan. With Ignite the Beacon to grab 2 more Planeswalkers here, I think I actually want to statue the Biomancer. Sure, I'm going down a card here, like playing a good removal spell on a pretty mediocre creature, but this makes Sarkhan like really safe, because now we can play Sarkhan, make a 4/4 flyer. Even if they kill the flyer, there's no way Sarkhan dies, because they're not going to play a haste creature in blue, black, green. So I'm okay with dumping good cards on bad creatures here to protect my better cards when I have this Ignite the Beacon that just grabs 2 massive bombs from my deck. Like, we know we're just going to be running out bombs for the rest of this game. I will keep this island in hand just in case they have an opponent discards 1 kind of card. Like a Burglar Rat, I don't know. They could have that in the Golgari half of their deck. Hydroid Krasis, alright. 4/4 flying trample, gain 2, draw 2, seems good. Interplanar Beacon's good. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. 5 for Beacon, 3 for Planeswalker. Yeah, we don't have any Planeswalkers that cheap. But we can still Ignite the Beacon. While they don't have any potential counter mana. Nahiri Tamiyo it is. No attacks here. That way if they don't have a removal spell for our dragon token, we do get to keep Sarkhan around. That's not that bad. Proliferating here does make the Krasis a 5/5 trample, but it takes a damage when they attack. Alright. That is very bad. That means Sarkhan dies, but Nahiri can kill the Krasis. Then we're dealing with a 4/4 and a 2/2 still. Tamiyo can bring Sarkhan back from our grave to hand. But we definitely need to kill the Krasis before we do any Sarkhan nonsense, because otherwise Sarkhan's just going to die. So, we go Nahiri. Kill the Krasis, play a Trumpeter, I guess. Nahiri is just straight gonna die, but
Of my sword is your death knell.
so is the Krasis.
Burn.
I could play Tamiyo and put Sarkhan back in hand right now, but I'd rather just recast Sarkhan the second that I pick Sarkhan up. Plus, playing Tamiyo and Sarkhan in the same turn means that we'll have the 4/4 flyer out when we're casting Tamiyo, so Tamiyo will be better protected. And we can no longer really play around a discard spell super well, so just gonna run that out. Tamiyo does shut off discard spells, which is cool, but if we put her on the board, then she's flimsy to all this stuff just coming in. So yeah, we just let Nahiri die, that's fine. Nahiri is out of loyalty to use. Orders of Racketeers, a 3/2. When it dies, they get 2 1/1 flyers. When it deals damage to us, we discard a card. Okay, so slam down a Tamiyo, slam down a Sarkhan. Or we could slam down a Tamiyo, slam down a Nahiri, kill the Bloom Hulk, but then we don't have any creatures. We could also just cast Gate Colossus now. Just have a 7/7 to block all this stuff. I think I still want to save that for later.
I am Tamiyo. It is an honor to meet you.
Could I ignite the beacon again? But no, it's definitely Sarkhan.
I have learned much from my ancestors.
Do your worst. Magnificent!
Alright, so they really want to kill Sarkhan. They're mildly concerned about Tamiyo. Okay. Honestly, I'm somewhat cool with letting Sarkhan die, because Tamiyo can get Sarkhan back again sometime in the future. It'll be a little while, but if it's going to take a lot to save Sarkhan, then
Listen to them roar! Watch thy will.
yeah, see, now Sarkhan just dies no matter what, so I may as well leave my 4/4 flyer around. Do I want to pop the Racketeers and turn it into a couple 1/1 flyers, or do I want to keep it as just a 3/2 on the ground? I think I'm kind of cool to pop it here. Because I've got the flyer, right? And if I ever get a Sarkhan back again, the 1/1 flyers just die when they attack. I don't know. I'm also just not going to have any cards in hand, so I'm not really worried about the discard from it, so I'll let it stay around, I think. This also makes sure that my dragon doesn't go into harm's way if they have a Blade Brand or minus something effect.
Peace and defeat.
Primordial Worm, big old 7/6. Well, we've got something bigger. And we have Nahiri. I wish I could cast Nahiri and this Gate Colossus here. 6, 7, 8, 9 mana. No, that's too firm enough. So what do we have left in the deck for Tamiyo to hit? We have 2 Sharkter Crabs. It's the only thing we have 2 copies of, and it's a powerful card, so I'm just going to name Sharkter Crab.
I think you will find my notes helpful.
Okay, we got there. We have a Sharkter Crab. So, I can cast a Nahiri and a Sharkter Crab, but I can't cast a Nahiri Sharkter Crab and tap something, but that's okay. That is fine. We've got a 1/3 chump blocker for their 4/4. Or for their 7/6.
Time for retribution.
And then we can just tap it down. Bond of Revival on the Bloom Hulk. It's haste this turn. Alright, well, now they can triple attack Tamiyo and make sure she dies. Or quadruple attack, that's the only way to make sure. They do not quadruple attack Tamiyo, so we can make sure that Tamiyo survives. But it will require some unfortunate chump blocks. I think I block like this. I guess they do get the 1/1 flyers this way, but then we pick up Sarkhan, make another dragon. When we have another dragon, the 1/1 flyers don't matter. We still have Shark to Crab on the board after this to shut off the Primordial Worm. Yeah, I think we do this so we can pick up Sarkhan.
I have learned little here. I follow the tracks.
And I'm cool popping Tamiyo there because the only way we're going to get her to enough loyalty to minus again is if we mill ourselves 12 more cards and we only have 16 left in our deck. So that is not a line that we are willing to take at this point. And I'm going to keep this land for the Gate Colossus to potentially come back later. Alright, so Shark to Crab doesn't really help us block anyway. Everything just dies to Sarkhan's ability except Primordial Worm, so we'll send in the Shark to Crab, and then we will tap the Primordial Worm once it goes to their turn. Siege Worm, cool. Another big old juicy worm, but that one is small enough to trade with our Shark to Crab. Actually, Sarkhan just doesn't quite kill them, but gets real close to lethal here, because we can't minus anyway, so might as well. Could hit for 12 in the sky, although I guess they have these 1/1 chump blockers. So we're going to play an 8/8 here to block. Yeah, just attack all, because the only thing... Yeah, the only thing that can attack us without immediately dying to Sarkhan's static ability is Siege Worm, and if Siege Worm attacks us, it'll die to our Gate Colossus. So make them have it, and make them very low on life. There's Gate Colossus. And there's the concession from our opponent. That is another win for the 5-color Planeswalker Soup. 4-1 now. This is a pretty ridiculous deck. War of the Spark just has a bunch of bonkers bombs, like super powerful rare mythic Planeswalkers in it. That sometimes it can be worth just running a ton of them, even with a poor mana base like we have here. This is a definite keep. Again, we have the best card in the deck, the New Horizons. And this time it's actually making our Pilfering Imp a 2/2 flyer, which is somewhat of a big deal. That's like big enough that I don't actually really want to pop it that much, so that's pretty cool. Our only white cards Ignite the Beacon and the Heries. I think I play the Gruul. I mean, with New Horizons in hand, it's not likely to matter too much. New Horizons will probably save us from messing up my mana again like I did in the round that we lost. So, this is unlikely to be a game that we could lose from me playing the wrong lands at the wrong time when we have a New Horizons in hand to assist us. So, Snare Spinner shuts off our Pilfering Imp dreams. It does just block Pilfering Imp as a 3/3 flyer, so Pilfering Imp now just going to be a blocker here, but that's not going to stop us from casting our New Horizons. Alright, Davriel's annoying, just makes us discard 3 cards, that's fine. With Gate Colossus in hand, I don't want to discard this Guild Gate. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I won't have Deadly Visit mana next turn, but what am I going to do? Deadly Visit a 1/1 or a 1/3? No, so we'll discard the basic. Play the gate next turn. I guess I could Deadly Visit the Snare Spinner and then kill Davriel, not have to discard any more cards. But that would essentially be discarding Deadly Visit and killing something small right now, instead of potentially something bigger later. I don't know what this is about, but I'll accept it. Guess really just trying to trigger some Undergrowth. Oh, we're going to have to discard something cool here. We could discard Gate Colossus. Oh my god, I didn't even realize that combo. Well, Gate Colossus doesn't go back to our hand. It goes back to the top of our library, so discarding Gate Colossus still slows us down a lot, doesn't let us draw whatever's on top of our deck. That being said, we could have absolutely discarded Gate Colossus and then just got it back with the Guild Gate play there. At this point, I think I'm honestly going to discard Nahiri to Davriel. She only kills tapped stuff. Deadly Visit kills anything. We do have all of the mana we need to cast Gate Colossus next turn, so I don't think we want to discard that. So this is a game we probably should have bit the bullet and just visited the Snare Spinner and sent in at Davriel there. Not have to discard any stuff. Ooh, Sarkhan the Masterless does not give the Planeswalkers haste, so I can't just nuke Davriel with Sarkhan here, unfortunately. Which means I'm gonna have to discard something cool. I either Sarkhan or Deadly Visit. Whatever I don't do, I'll have to discard. I would rather discard Deadly Visit than Sarkhan, so let's just Sarkhan.
You will feel the lick of my
I guess we could still discard Gate Colossus. We're still 1 mana away from casting it, but they haven't played anything we need to Deadly Visit yet. And I don't know when they will. I'm unsure. They could be a deck like ours where most of their threats are just good Planeswalkers. I say that when I have a big old 8/8 in my hand, but you know the drill. We've got like 4 Planeswalkers in here. Kind of our best stuff. Double Davriel out of the one War of the Spark pack. That's gotta feel super spicy for our opponent. That does feel super awful for us.
Loneliness can hurt.
Well, we do get to kill a Davriel, I guess.
might demands power.
Unless they have 2 mana removal to kill Sarkhan here. They could have a pump spell, so we double attack Davriel to make sure it dies. I guess it's not that important to kill Davriel. We just have lands in hand now. So I could also just not attack here. Like, if I attack, I'm putting Sarkhan at risk of dying to a combat trick on a Snare Spinner. And obviously, if I attack with this dragon, they can just kill Sarkhan on the crackback. Well, they can't kill Sarkhan. They can hit Sarkhan for 1. Two cards in hand from them. They're Golgari, so I don't feel like they'd have combat checks. I feel like they'd specialize in just a bunch of good straight-up removal. I'm just going to send it their face and put a clock on them. Alright, now's the time where we prepare our tear ducts. The crying has begun. They're running some random combat trick that will get me. Well, our single 4/4 flyer still gets there currently. Not without a way to block Primordial Worm. Now we lose the race. Pollen Bright Druid. That is a way to chump block Primordial Worm, I suppose. For a turn here. They're dead in 3 attacks to our flyer now. Alright, so they are dead to 3 hits from the flyer. We're dead to 2 hits from the worm because Davriel's also hitting us. They are winning the race. It is a top deck war and they are ahead. They drew a reach creature off the top to block the dragon here.
Struggling?
Okay. And a 6/6 off the top here. What do we have?
All I've left you is
Just the land for us. That is game. More than lethal from those two. Double Davriel with some bad beats. We could have played around it better, but then I guess they just cast the second copy of Davriel earlier, and we still end up discarding pretty much our whole hand. So the big lines there, I should have just bit the bullet with the Deadly Visit and cast it to get that Snare Spinner in there earlier. And I suppose once we drew Sarkin, like we had Sarkin to try to close out the game, so we should have discarded our big old 8/8 in hindsight instead of the Sarkin, but the reason that I did that is because all I'd seen from my opponent was like a 1/3, and we were like 6 or 7 turns into the game, so I just assumed, alright, not a lot of super impactful creatures coming out anytime soon, and then it just so happened that the turn after I discard the removal spell, they're like, bam, 7/6, so sometimes you get got. A lot of lines that did not play out well in hindsight. Without the benefit of hindsight, I think the only thing that I would say I objectively did wrong there was not just deciding to get rid of that Davriel sooner. Because what we had to consider was, sure, we're spending good cards to get rid of the Davriel, but the Davriel is going to be getting rid of our good cards regardless. So, like, either we end up having to discard some good cards due to Davriel's ability, or we're going to have to discard one good removal spell to get something out of the way to kill Davriel. I should have seen the bigger picture on that one earlier there, I think. Alright, so thanks to our New Horizons, we can kind of do whatever here. I think with a 2/2, 1/2, 1/1, we've got a 4/3 to attack in here. We're holding Bedevil up. Can attack in pretty freely. And if they do like a triple block, then we just Bedevil something. If they don't, then we're just going to drop a Shark to grab. Alright, so just a chump block here, it looks like. Seems good to me. They have 1 mana up. They could have literal giant growth, just +3/+3. Status, +1/+1 death touch. Alright. Trades. Like, this is a 1-for-1 trade. They're spending this status statue. The other half of this card is just 4 mana destroy target creature. So essentially we can just imagine they spent 4 mana destroy target creature to kill Brush Strider here. Like, it's a 1-for-1 trade. That's fine. I'm not going to stop that with our Bedevil. We'll just play a bigger, better creature. Rather than, like, desperately protect our little 4/3. Alright, so open the gates here. Grabs an Izzet Guild Gate for our opponent. They're on green-black at the start, but here's a blue-red Guild Gate. Similar deck to ours, I would say. Green-black at the core with just a bunch of Guild Gates and other colors of nonsense. Probably enjoy Deadly Visiting this Gatebreaker Ram, because this is just going to keep getting bigger and bigger later on, and Deadly Visit allows us to scry some. Specifically Surveil, which is scry, but put it in the graveyard if you don't want it, and I want both of these. Probably the land first. But these are both good. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. We already have 5 mana, so we could cast Monument and Imp in the same turn. Let's actually grab the Monument first then. I'm going to want to cast Monument before all this multicolored goodness in our hand. Well, I don't know what happened, but our opponent's already down to 13. I kind of just blinked. As usual, the mind is all over the place today. I can't say I definitely do want to apologize a little bit. I've been a little extra irritable today. I think I can tell from some earlier rounds. Like, I had an opponent playing some counter spells, got a little spicy against that, and then playing against a bunch of discard also. You know how it is, we all have off days. I'm going to try to chill a little more from this point on in the draft here. Alright, so they have some really spicy guild gate stuff. Circuitous Route is really cool. Grab 2 basics or gates from their library, put them into play tapped, then shuffle. Super cool ramp spell. I actually had a standard gate dex for a while that was really good. It just used a bunch of guild gates and the Gatebreaker Colossus, all that kind of stuff. Part of why I'm so partial to the gate decks. Alright, so we're hitting for 4 here. 5 if we cast a multicolored spell. So they're not quite dead, but they're getting very close. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. We can Tamiyo and Trumpeter. Tamiyo is more impactful than Nahiri here. Because Nahiri just kind of chills. Doesn't do anything. Tamiyo at least gives us a great card to play next turn. Picking up Shark to Crab because we have Bedevil if we need to remove a blocker from their board. Pretty sure there's nothing they can have to get out of this one now. Even if they can wipe our board, we're going to have Tamiyo just starting to accumulate value, and of course multiple other big old creatures to close the game out. Ooh, Archway Angel, that is close to getting them out of this. It gains them 2 life for each gate they have, so it gained them a boatload of life here. They're up to 12 again. We can Bedevil that. And then they only have a 0/3 to block with. They do not die this turn, that's for sure. What do we still have in our deck? We have a Gate Colossus, but if we mill the Gate Colossus, we can put it back on top with Simic Guildgate. We have Sarkin. Let's just +1 for Sarkin, I'd say. Just always choose the best card in your deck whenever you're using Tamiyo's +1. Alright, we did not hit Gate Colossus, we did not hit Sarkin. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can't Bedevil and play like Shark to Crab or something here. So I think that I just maybe Bedevil and even look at their hand, because Pilferingham's just like 1 more damage. You know what? I want to see what they're playing with here at this point. Well, the auto tapper. No, that's not the auto tapper. That's just me being dumb. Oh, they have Kaya, Ashiok, and Notion Rain. So they might try to mill us out. We have 19 cards here. Kaya's an issue, exiling our stuff. Put Ashiok's away from them to close out the game. And it exiles our graveyard. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of Ashiok, because it also exiles our graveyard, which means that Tamiyo doesn't do anything anymore. Oh, we do still have Bedevil mana. Oh, it's black, black, red, not red, red, black. Okay, cool. I thought I miscounted that, and I got real scared. All right. So get rid of Ashiok so that Tamiyo can still pick something up from their grave. And all we have to worry about is Kaya, and that would cost all of their mana. All they do is exile our monument, and then we can still hit Kaya with the Trumpeter to make Kaya low enough loyalty to not be able to kill anything else we have. And then they have nothing, right? They just have a Notion Rain in hand to try to draw with. So we do need to buff Trumpeter to make it enough damage to kind of affect Kaya here. I'm still cool with a little bit of self-mill here.
Let me aid your research.
No Sarkin, no Gate Colossus. Alright, so looks like we're not casting anything else here. We're just going to hit Kaya. If I hit Kaya for just 1 here, she's still going to be at 3 loyalty, which is enough to exile a creature. Sure, she'll die, but her static ability doesn't do anything. So we just need to hit her enough to get her below 3. Don't need to actually finish her off. Wait, what?
Nightmares are the palette for my greatest. I leave you with
We legitimately just got double Ashioked. Alright, well, I am sitting on double Nahiri, but I think Nahiri's nowhere near as high of a pick as Ashiok potentially. Well, this is pretty disgusting. 9 cards in our deck. We have to just get damage in here. Any way possible. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Could hit an Ashiok for 3 with Trumpeter. 7 mana. Play Gateway Sneak and Shark to Crab. It's the most we can put out here. I could also play Gateway Sneak and then not play Shark to Crab to still hit Ashiok for 3. Then Ashiok mills us 1 more time, 4 more cards. We go down to 5 cards in library. That's more time than just 2 turns, so. Let's get more time this way.
Relent. My dreams. This.
Oh, Sarkhan's still in there. Sarkhan's still in there somewhere. Oh no, they exiled Sarkhan earlier, never mind. Gate Colossus is still in there though. And Status Statue. It's been a wild draft here. Alright, we have 5 turns to kill them. Got Kazmina as well here.
Listen up, and I'll teach you a trick or two.
-2 to get a 2/2 draw card and discard a card. They don't even use it. They're just going to hold her back, make our removal more expensive, I guess. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We can play a 5/5 trample or we can play a Shark to Crab. We have a gate for Gateway Sneak, but we actually don't want to draw another card here. So I don't actually want to hit them with Gateway Sneak, but I can make Gateway Sneak unblockable and start hitting Kazmina, I guess, if nothing else. So would I rather tap down one of their creatures or get a 5/5 Trampler? I think get the 5/5 Trampler first, because I can still next turn cast Shark to Crab and activate it in the same turn. Kill Kaya, but like none of our stuff's gonna have hexproof anyway, so just hit Kazmina here. We don't want to hit them. That's for sure. We don't want to plus Tamiyo either. Yeah, Nahiri not super good when we're on the offensive, because we can't kill any of their creatures with Nahiri. We could kill whatever we Shark to Crab down. Uh-oh, Guild Summit here draws as many cards as they want. They've got 3 gates, so tap 3 gates, draw 3 cards. Every time they play another gate, they'll draw a card. Kazmina draws a card, discards a card when she makes a 2/2. So here's Shark to Crab. Shut off their blockers for 2 turns with the adaptability. We shut off the 1/4. Everything we have has 3 toughness. Yeah. So it can still attack it against the 2/2, and that one has the highest toughness, so it stops the most damage. Would I like to Siege Worm Kazmina? They have 3 cards left. It's gonna be that important to get another 2-2 out of the way. I think a 2-2 is gonna stop 5 damage. Because it can block a Shark to Crab, so... I think we send it Kasmina here. And now there's no way they can block this and still make another 2-2, because it's a -2 to make a 2-2. So even if they double block that, they take 1, she's at 1 loyalty. Okay, now we Nahiri, kill the tapped creature, status to kill another creature if we draw into it, or statue to kill another creature if we draw into it. Status for +1/+1 Death Touch can find lethal with Death Touch Trample out of nowhere. Trumpeter's ability can find lethal out of nowhere. It's a scary game. For sure. Another just really nice 5-color control, I would say. Not as control as the last one. Finale of Eternity, though. Kill all of our creatures left. We don't have another creature in our whole deck. Oh no, we have 1 Gate Colossus. I guess if we immediately draw Gate Colossus... So our 1 out is to have Gate Colossus not be the last card in our library. Alright, well... Gate Colossus looking like the last card in our library. We could draw it off of Tamiyo. With the +1, but then we'd obviously mill ourselves.
Forged fury of my blade.
So let's slap in a Formant, get another Shark to Crab out here.
No tail should be discarded.
Maybe Siege Worm's better for the trample. With status... Nah, with status, I maybe should have picked up Siege Worm and cast Siege Worm and just not cast a Nahiri this turn. But that 1/4 was going to untap after this turn. I guess if they have removal for Shark to Crab, then this plays better. Alright, yeah. That... I don't know if it was the right play at face value, but it did end up being better because they were just going to kill our Siege Worm anyway, so this way at least we permanently killed the blocker while playing a creature this turn. If we had just picked up Siege Worm and cast it, they just kill Siege Worm and still have a 1/4 blocker, and we're just at a net down there. Alright, well. Final turn, 50-50 shot of Gate Colossus. If it's Gate Colossus, we can win. If it's not Gate Colossus, then we definitely lose. Alright, we can win. This doesn't mean we do win, it means we can win. Because we cast Gate Colossus, their only creature that can block it is Siege Worm. So if this removal on Siege Worm resolves and they don't have another blocker, then we just hit for 8. And there's the next blocker. That is game. We don't have the loyalty with Tamiyo to recast something from our grave. Real bummer around here. The double Ashiok was just too much. That was not expected. Obviously, part of this is self-caused from using Tamiyo's +1, but I did not expect another Ashiok. Alright, 4-3 it is for this draft. Not the greatest record ever, but that's better than I thought we would do after I drafted the deck. Because we pivoted into the multicolor deck pretty late on in this one. But after experiencing how well this deck still did, even with the low amount of mana fixing and as late as we pivoted, I think I'm going to start drafting multicolored piles much more highly than I have been. I already thought I was drafting lands pretty highly, but after seeing how good that was with still a mediocre mana base, I think just slamming guild gates every pick could be an excellent strategy in this draft, and I may do that next time around. So, as always, thank you all very much for watching. If you want to see some more drafts, I will have them right here on the channel. Stick around. They happen quite frequently. I don't have like a guaranteed schedule or anything, but it's my favorite format, so I do love making the YouTube videos for them, and I hope you all enjoyed. So, as always, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.